was at the Aurora Kiwanis today, and she was talking about something very interesting. Our guest today is Suzanne Stegeman. She's going to talk about the Back to Business Grant Program. She's a community navigator, and she's specializing in the Aurora area. So welcome, Suzanne. Here she comes. We're going to bring her up now. There she is. Thank you for joining me here today.
Yeah, thank you very much, John. I'm really happy to be here, and thank you very much for allowing me this opportunity to speak to your public about this great new program.
Yeah, I just we give her a big welcome here, and this is something I vaguely knew about. It was in the paper. I know it was, but I didn't read it that close. So we're going to get some. We had good information in our Kiwanis group today. So this is just sort of a supplement or a build up on just telling the public about this special program. So I'm going to throw out the big question here. What's the Back to Business Grant Program? I'm sure you can. This is. I hope this is not too hard a question.
I was going to say that's a softball question. So yeah. Thank you very much. So the Back to Business Program, it builds on the success of the business interruption grants that occurred during the pandemic. So the Back to Business grant is going to provide between $5,000 and $150,000 in grants totaling $250 million. And they are available through the American Rescue Plan Act. And the application portal will open tomorrow. So these grants are available to businesses impacted by the pandemic. And there's a few kind of requirements and so forth, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But it's a new grant program for small business.
And how long is it going to run to about, would you say? Or is it till the money runs out, I guess, or what?
Well, hopefully it will. It's scheduled to run through October 11th. Okay. So the application portal will be open between now and October 11th.
Okay. We'll go and get into some of the nitty gritty of this. This is offered through the governor's Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity, I should say. And Susan, you're a navigator. What's a community navigator? I'll throw out another question along that line.
Okay, great. So I'm working with the Small Business Development Council at Waubonsie Community College.
Okay.
And so I'm working with a team there. There are 6 navigators, and we are tasked with communicating the program to the community and assisting individuals in their application process. So right now, this is part of that overall kind of community awareness effort. And then in a couple of weeks, we'll start having walk-in application sessions and things like that at the library and at Waubonsie Community College as well.
Okay. So it's just getting off the ground here.
Yeah, the governor announced the program on Wednesday the 11th. So it's it's new and it's just beginning.
Okay, and I'll ask this and then we'll go on. Well, is the portal open at midnight tonight, or is it at 9 o'clock tomorrow? Or what? We had a friend ask that question at Kiwanis. I know that. I don't know if that might be on your pay grade there to find that one out, but I assume it's something in between, probably.
I would assume that as well, John. That's funny. That was a question that was asked today at Kiwanis. And the portal is scheduled to open on the 18th. And so I would assume that means 12:01 a.m.
Okay, we'll
I'm
see.
not going to stay up to check that out,
No,
but
maybe our friend is, but I
I
don't know.
know.
He might do that.
Right.
Or else it's probably 9 o'clock or whatever it is, uh, or 8 o'clock. Um, why don't you go down through some of the specifics of the program here, Susan, and just lay it out for our businesses and it's nonprofits too are involved too, right?
Yep. Yep.
Right.
Absolutely. So in general, the program is designed to provide assistance to small businesses that have been most impacted by the COVID-19 public health emergency. So there are a couple of ways that businesses are prioritized. So either they are in what's called a disproportionately impacted area. Um, those are defined by zip codes. So in the Aurora area, priority will be given to businesses that are in the 60505 and 60506 zip codes, because those were the areas that were most impacted by the pandemic. And then, secondly, there are industries that were most impacted by the pandemic. And so, priority will also be provided to specific industries. So, that's going to be industries such as hotels, restaurants that did not receive some of the other funding, that RRF funding, arts organizations, service providers for the arts, clothing and electronic retail establishments, dry cleaners, home health care services, child care services, barbershops, beauty salons, gym or fitness centers. So if you think about people in your community that were impacted by the pandemic, this is a program you're going to want to make sure they can learn about so that they can take advantage of these funds and help them get back on their feet.
Now, and then I think you had 501(c)(3)s too, maybe. Is that right?
Yes, yes, that's right, John. We talked about that a little bit today the um, at Kiwanis as well. So
Right.
nonprofits can also apply, and there were a list of their categories here that I'm looking for
Right.
because there were a couple of kind of qualifications. So just give me a second
Right.
as I go
The
through
state has
my.
supplied a nice frequently asked questions. We'll put up the website here right now that you can look at too out there.
Yep.
And this is where the business to business grants are. You got to go to that tab though on this site though. But
Yep.
so there's some different qualifications on the nonprofits than we're saying, probably, right? Is that what you were saying?
Yeah, so I did find the list here, John, and nonprofits that are 501c3, 501c6,
Mm-hmm.
and 501c19 are eligible to apply.
Okay. Okay. Well, that answers that. There, your work as a navigator, as you mentioned, now you help people work through some of this paperwork too. Is that correct? Is that part of your job?
Exactly, John. So, what the navigators have been tasked with is to communicate the program to the community, and then also work one on one with individuals that need assistance in getting the paperwork together, scanning their documents, checking over their paperwork to make sure they've got everything ready for submission. So we will work with groups, we will work with individuals. We're going to canvas and going to visit businesses that we think should apply. So we're really here to to provide, personal service as well as overall communication about the program to the community.
That's great. It's a whole holistic approach there. Uh, I I looked on the website there, and they talk about the our community help there, and there's different. I think you mentioned this, but maybe I'll bring it back up. About six in King. Oh, is that right? Six in King County, or six groups or areas of that are doing this together. The being navigators. Is that correct? So I think it was six, maybe. But
Yeah, there are six navigators for our area, and that includes DuPage, Kane, Will, Kendall, and
oh,
DeKalb.
okay, okay. Well, I noticed Batavia had one specifically, and Aurora has uh, more than one actually, right? I think they have several different navigators. Is that correct?
There's going to be six of us, and we might be, for instance, I know one of my colleagues also lives in Aurora, but we're going to
Right.
divide up. We're going to divide up the counties and divide up the areas to make sure
Well,
that we're all covering specific
right.
areas. And another thing that I want to mention, John, that I forgot to earlier is the fact that we will have people that can communicate the program in Spanish. So
Oh,
for
nice.
our Spanish speaking business owners that are more comfortable speaking to somebody about the program in Spanish, we'll have people that can help in those, for those folks as well.
Right. Well, that's good. And I know one partner was like the Urban League or something like that. That was one of the partners, I think. And Batavia was the Main Street, I think. I
Mm-hmm.
down the Main Street operation there. Batavia Main Street, I think.
Right. So there are different
I mean,
agencies.
there's a lot of, but you're the we're talking to you. I just don't. I just want to say there's a lot of helps out there. That's all I'm trying to say. And
Absolutely. Yeah.
then
Different agencies will have uh, people that can also help within their agency. They can also help. But I think the difference between that and a navigator is the
oh
navigators are
yeah,
going to go
it's
out and out into the community a little bit more.
some like would do Spanish, and others some are more better at that too. I think they have Spanish emphasis too.
Right.
Now, to get a hold of Susan and get this going for you, here's her phone number here. She's graciously putting that up here. This
Yep.
is, I believe it's her cell number. So you can get connected with Susan here and find out more about this program. And yeah, look at the Illinois.gov slash DC. No, it was DC. What is it? I got it.
DCEO.
Yeah, that's right. I was
Yep.
getting there. DCO. That's where you can get some a lot of the information too. But Susan will help you get through the work here, and I'm going to give her email next here. We're going to throw that up here, and you can email her too if you wish, and we can get going on that. Get it going here.
John, you're
Uh,
right. It's going to
what
take a
now?
little while for people to get, all the documentation that's required together. So it's not a bad idea to start early, and I can help you understand the different documents that you need in order to apply.
Now, if let's say you fail on something there, would they tell you to send back a paper and said we need this document, or are you out the door then, or how does that
You
work?
know, I hate to say it, but I think your application might get denied if it's not filled out completely or properly, or you don't have all of the
Okay.
documentation. I don't think they will contact you and say they're
We need
missing
this or
something.
that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you got to do
Yep.
it in a good way here.
Exactly. You have to
Good.
be careful, and you want it to be right the first time because you won't
Okay.
get a second chance.
Okay. 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 Well, we're getting an opportunity here. For, what is it? 5,000 to 150 was it? Is that what
That's
the
right. Yep,
so the
500
minimum is
or
5,000.
5,000. I'm sorry,
Is it's
5,000. Mm-hmm.
wow.
Yeah,
And so it's going to be up to 250 total in the end there. So
yeah,
wow,
250 million. Yep.
that is a real good opportunity.
And basically, how it's determined, the amount that you will receive is it's equivalent to 2 months of your losses. So if you look at your 2019 tax return versus your 2020 tax return, um, that difference divided by 12 is basically how they determine your grant amount. Um, so, and you have to have uh, losses. You have to have experienced losses of at least $5,000.
Oh, I see. To get 5,000, you have to at least lost 5,000.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, well, this program is very interesting, and well, like I said, this is Susan's email here, and I'll put it back up that phone number again too. Here's the phone number to Susan to get a hold of her about this special program, the Back to Business Grants, and this is a grant program, and it's beginning tomorrow. So I should have put that up, more highlights here and flash lights on it. It's starting tomorrow, so that's why we
Yep.
wanted to talk today. Uh, and it's running through, what'd you say, mid October, was it? I forgot now.
Yep. October 11th.
Okay, October 11th.
Yep.
So it's a little over a month program or 6 weeks. So, oh, that's almost two, well, maybe 7 weeks then. I don't know. But anyway, that's very good. So it starts tomorrow. We don't know what time, midnight or 8 or 9 or whatever, but it starts tomorrow.
Yep.
So, but it's probably best, as we just talked, to work with a navigator to make sure that you have all the ducks in order, right, Susan?
Yes, absolutely.
Because you would help out and make sure we got everything in proper, we have all the right
Exactly.
documentation.
Yep.
Now, the site has a lot of that stuff on where you're supposed to go, but it's always helpful to have someone look at it too. I would say it's like taxes too. It helps when you do those things. So Susan is going to be doing this, and her navigators out there. So I appreciate Susan coming by with us and just sharing about what's happening. Uh, so on Wednesday, Lord willing, we'll have another show here, or else there'll be a nice little encore with Susan. We have it. We're working on the guests for Wednesday, but so Susan, I just want to thank you for stopping by for a few minutes and giving us a little perspective on this new program, and it's the Back to School Business and a business Back to Business Grant
Hmm.
Program. And
Yep.
remember that. Let me put up that Illinois site again uh, one more time if I got it here. This is the Illinois site to get a lot of the information there to get going, and then give Susan a jingle and talk to her and talk to a navigator about what's up. But that's where you can get going and get started. And the applications are going to be starting to flow in tomorrow. But I think the navigator to get involved would be good too. So if you got something, I think that would be the best way to make sure that everything is in proper order. And
Yeah, or even just to answer any questions.
right, you might have an
Yeah,
application
absolutely.
question too,
Yep,
and it's
yep,
easier than calling the 1-800 number, whatever it is.
right.
I don't know what it is, or get lost in customer service. Uh,
Right.
Susan's right there. She's not. You're not going to get lost in customer service there. So I again thanks Susan for being with us today, and just it's a and thank you for joining us at Kiwanis too now. And Susan is a member of that club, and we got a lot of members of that club, and got to keep moving on that front. But
Well, thank
thanks,
you, John.
Susan, for being
Thank
with
you.
us today. And like I said, Wednesday we'll see what's up. But so
Okay.
anyway, for right now, I'm going to say bye bye out there, everybody, and
All right.
God bless you. And again, thank you, Susan. Thank you, Susan.
Thank you, John.